Welcome back to College Football Addiction. One of our favorites back with us today, Sports Talk Jay. Jay, how you doing, bud?
I'm just rocking and rolling, waiting for a big game coming up.
Tennessee's had plenty of them this year, and maybe none bigger than this one. It could secure a lot of things. We certainly, I don't know that we would have predicted Tennessee to still just have one loss after that Arkansas game, and then we talked after the Florida game, and there were a lot of concerns. But Tennessee has found a way to beat Alabama and then beat everybody else that they've played since then, and now controls their own destiny to get to Atlanta with a potential win this weekend, and then obviously they got to win past this weekend too. But the biggest kind of speed bump in the road is this Georgia game. And Georgia is a team that's reeling a little bit, has lost a couple of games this year, maybe on the outside looking in if the playoff was to take place. Tennessee, though, is a different team at home and on the road. How much going on the road concern you this weekend?
Well, it's not only going on the road, but Georgia's had our number for 8-9 years in a row now, which they've had everybody's number. And everybody is freaking out because Georgia's not Georgia right now. Nobody is Georgia. Nobody is Alabama anymore. With NIL money, these backups, the guys they were counting on to come through, they're gone. They're gone. And the Missouris and the Ole Misses and all these other teams, Tennessee, we've got great players now that we didn't have. See, Alabama and Georgia, Ohio State, they were stacking. And then they'd have somebody just as good right behind them. That's not it. That doesn't happen anymore. They got great players on the top. Backups are guys that aren't quite ready, and they're not used to that.
Yeah. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of questions. There's just everything with QB1 and wondering what will happen with Nico this week. My gut is that he plays. I know that Shannon Terry and others have said yes. Josh has come out and said that he expects him to play. But is your gut that he lines up under center this weekend?
Yeah, I'm about 75% on it. I know that Bear Falica came out and said that it was a bad concussion, but I don't think it was. I mean, I watched it. It was two plays. They couldn't even figure out which play it was, and I didn't see anything that was like serious. So it's probably a lower grade one, but you got to take them seriously as crap. That's just the way it is. So if he can't play or there's some significant risk, he won't play. I mean, they'll protect him, but I just didn't see anything there that I thought was, a bad concussion. And plus, those national media guys, there is some negativity towards Tennessee because we took out the NCAA, and they don't like Nico being the first $2 million guy. There's some hate over that. And Tennessee just, plus we didn't hire Greg Schiano. We're in the doghouse with the national media. I'll just go ahead and tell you.
Are you looking to up your game in sports betting? Meet OddsJam, your ultimate ally in the world of data-driven wagering. With over 260 sportsbook under its belt, OddsJam is the go-to platform for savvy bettors. Here's how it works. OddsJam's arbitrage tool scans the market in real time, spotting differences in betting lines across various sportsbooks. This means you can lock in risk-free profits by betting on both sides of the market. But that's not all. OddsJam also provides positive EV calculators to optimize your bets and a handy bet tracker to monitor your profits. By using OddsJam, you're not just betting smarter, you're betting responsibly for long-term profitability. And here's the kicker. They offer a 7-day free trial. Ready to give it a shot? Use code CFA, that's College Football Addiction, for a 35% discount on your first payment, either monthly or yearly. Secure your bets with confidence and make informed decisions with OddsJam. If Nico wasn't able to play, and maybe no Tennessee fan wants to think about this or hear this take, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I don't care. If Nico wasn't able to play, first of all, what's the outlook? Talk to me about the backup, and then second, I almost think it could help Tennessee if he didn't play because they probably have a game to play with anyway. I think that if Tennessee goes 10-2, they're probably still getting in. And if he didn't play in this one due to a concussion, I think that the committee would hold it against Tennessee a little bit less. Now, Vol fans, I get it. You want to go play, you want to go prove that you're the best, and you want to go beat them because you could still get to the SEC championship in Atlanta and all that. So I'm not suggesting that they would not play him for that risk, but is it maybe a little bit comforting knowing that you maybe have a game to play with anyway if he's not there?
I think they would take that into consideration because they would go, okay, yeah, they lost to Georgia, but they were with their backup quarterback because of a concussion situation, which are typically not long term. You might lose him just this game. So I could see that being an issue. Might help the Vols, but I also know what it feels like to be wanting to go into the playoff, and so does FSU, by the way, as you know. And you can politically get screwed over big time, especially with Alabama. They would probably put Alabama in ahead of us, even though we beat them head to head. I just think they would. That's how they roll, man. I tell you, they had no problem taking FSU and throwing them in the river like it was nothing over a quarterback situation or wins and losses. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it is pretty hilarious to think that the committee would I mean, and I kind of agree with you on that. Like, if it came down to Alabama and Tennessee, they would almost, close their eyes to the head-to-head and then say, well, Georgia, they beat Georgia and Tennessee lost to Georgia. And you're like, well, guys, but they played head-to-head. And I don't know what justification they'll use, but they'll find something, to put the blinders on for that head-to-head, which head-to-head means, I mean, to me, right, and I'm younger, but to me that my entire life, head-to-head meant more than anything. And somehow you close your eyes to that and they'd say, oh, well, but they had this common opponent. And the way they played this common opponent was different. And I'm kind of with you on that. I think that they probably would end up screwing Tennessee if that's what it came down to. Now, Tennessee could get in over another team, an ACC championship loser or something like that. But I would worry about it if it was Bama for the last spot.
Yeah, well, you've got some teams in there that could creak you too. You got not BYU, Indiana. They're both in great shape right now. And granted, I don't know who Indiana's really played. I guess Michigan was the best team they've played. Michigan's got 5 losses, and BYU. I guess Utah was the best one there, and the Utah AD went crazy over that ball game. He lost his mind. That was a heck of an ending. So. I don't want to go into it like that. This is our opportunity to win and beat the king twice. Alabama and Georgia, they're the kings in the SEC the last 15 years, pretty much. Last 10 years for sure.
Yeah.
And to have the opportunity to beat both of them in the same year would be amazing. I'm hoping Nico can play. Nobody thinks we can win. I'll just go ahead and tell you, nobody thinks we can win. We're 10-point underdogs. There's a Georgia YouTuber that's already come out and guaranteed a win, Locked On Bulldogs. He's said we're phonies, we're a fraud, and he's guaranteeing the win. So there's a lot to play for.
If Nico can't go, talk to me about the backup. Talk to me about your confidence there. Do they just completely go ground and pound at that point with Sampson in the running back room, or what happens if Nico can't go?
Oh, they're going to put Gaston Moore in. He's a 5th-year senior. He's been with Josh Heupel that entire time. He came from UCF with him. He's not a super talented guy. He spins it pretty good. He's not nearly as accurate as a Nico would be, but he knows exactly what to do with the ball. He knows when to throw it, where to throw it. It's just, can he, deliver like he needs to? That'll be the big question. He's a little bit mobile, probably about not quite as good as Nico. Nico will surprise you. He's quite a bit faster than you think for 6'6". But he's pesky, is a good word for him. I think he'd do okay, but I don't know that we could win with him. It'd be very difficult.
UGA has shown some propensity recently to really struggle offensively, and Beck has been a little better last week, but turning the ball over a lot in his last several games. And Tennessee's got a really good defense. We've talked about this before. How aggressive do you think they are defensively this week, knowing the struggles that Georgia has had on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, the first thing I would do is tell them, you're not going to make the playoff if we lose this game, because we're going to get screwed over. So that would be my message if I was Josh Heupel. Now, he's probably one of those guys that one game at a time, we do everything the same way, because that's a way a lot of winners are. Whereas I'd probably go the opposite. I'd probably go, this is it, man. You're back. Everybody says Georgia's back against the wall, which it is. If they get 3 losses, they're gone, especially given the circumstances of so many teams with 2. So I would just say, look, this is everything's in front of you. You could win the SEC right here. You win this game right here, you're going to the SEC championship game almost certainly. You still got to beat Vandy, but that's something that would just be glorious for the Vols. It's been so long, and we've been good, but we haven't got that brass ring in a long time. So we're hungry for it. We've done it in baseball and basketball. We haven't done it in football. We want a conference championship too.
Yeah, getting to and what's interesting is no idea with how jumbled up the SEC is. There's no telling who you'd play. Now, a lot of people think it's going to be Texas if they beat A&M, and it probably will be. But there's certainly nothing saying that Tennessee couldn't go out and win it all in the SEC if they can somehow find a way to get past this game. Now, you lose this game and it gets incredibly tough, and then again, you don't know what happens with the playoff committee. But the thought of Tennessee playing Alabama, Georgia, and Texas all in the same season is pretty remarkable. And even if you go 2-1 against those three, that's something. I mean, obviously you don't want to concede a loss this early, but the idea of who Tennessee would have played and who they will have played if they can find a way to win this game is pretty remarkable. I mean, shoot, it could also set up for an Alabama rematch if certain things happen. But the game this weekend. How do you? What's your read on it? What's your take on how it ends up going down?
I think it'll be a defensive battle, almost certainly. It almost has to be. Georgia always has a fantastic defense, and our defense. See, we've never gone down there in the last 10 years with a really good defense. We just haven't. It's been our defensive line's been good, but our defensive backfield's been terrible. We're pretty good all the way around now. We're solid. So that keeps us in games. That's why we've had a lot of wins this year, because we're always in the game, even if our offense isn't that good. I think the crowd's going to play a huge role in this. God, I wish it was at Neyland. Man, I'd love to have traded that game against Mississippi State and played them down the road. But unfortunately, that's the way it works. So having to go down there, it's going to be a blackout, which they're making a big deal out of this, which is exactly what they should do. It's perfect. I think that's going to play a major role. It's going to be if we win this, we'll have really earned it. I mean, it would be a huge feather in the cap for Josh Heupel and this Tennessee team, because it would be as big as beating Alabama in 22.
Yeah, I almost think kind of what you say, like lower scoring, if Tennessee can just hang around. They seem to get better as games go on. You think about the Florida game, you think about the Alabama game. They get better as games go on. And if they're in it late and they can kind of take care of the ball, right? Like who makes that crucial mistake, who messes up, that's Tennessee's path, right? Now they certainly could jump on top of them early. Georgia has struggled. I mean, that's what Ole Miss did last week. They jumped on them early and never really let them get back in it. But to me, the path is Tennessee keeping it close late and then making enough plays in the fourth quarter to find a way to victory. And Georgia, even in that Texas game where they absolutely dominated them and the score probably wasn't even as close as it finished up due to the reversal of the call that the trash on the field helped. Yeah. I do think that Texas even, kind of came back a little bit. And so I think that path is there. But we'll see, right? That's why you got to go out and play the games. And I do think Tennessee keeps it closer than 10. I don't know that I'm willing to say that Tennessee goes out and absolutely beats Georgia, or that I'm calling. I know some national guys. I like Barrett Sallee a lot. Has called for Tennessee to come out and win. I think that what's hardest about this is that Georgia is just so unpredictable. One week they're dismantling Texas, the number 3 team in the country supposedly, and then the next week they look like they can't do anything against Florida, and they look like they can't do anything against Ole Miss last week, which I think Ole Miss is a good team. But what makes this game so tough for me, outside of the Nico question, is that Georgia, I can't figure them out. I don't know if they're really good. I don't know if they're really bad. Sometimes even in the Alabama game, they look really good for a half and really bad for a half. And so I think a lot of it does have to do not even really with Tennessee. It's what kind of game does Georgia play this weekend?
Yeah. Georgia's been hit and miss. I thought they looked amazing against Texas, and I was like, oh, crap, here we go again. But I think attrition has played a role, and injuries, and not having those monster backups. They've lost a lot of people to the portal that people don't realize, and that's happened to Alabama too. And you're seeing these big-time teams pulling down, and it's great for college football. I'm so sick and tired of watching 2 or 3 teams just dominate, and nobody has a chance again. Look, it's great for ratings too, because now you've got Ole Miss fan base going through the roof. They're so excited. And on down the line, I mean, there's so many teams that are still in it. It's fantastic for ratings, and I think it's great for the sport. It makes it very healthy.
Yeah, it makes the sport a lot more fun. You're like me, right? Like we were gonna watch these games either way, right? Like I'm still tuning into a 1-9 team every week, and so we're gonna watch football one way or the other. I'm up till 2 a.m. watching the Holy War the other night, but it does make it more entertaining. BYU's fan base is huge, and they're getting to enjoy this. In Indiana and Miami, who's been dormant forever, and there are so many. Teams that are just around now. And you spoke about ratings. Like college football is people, NIL is going to kill the sport and the portal is going to kill the sport. Well, it ain't killing the ratings because they're higher than they've ever been. And, I'm not even a huge fan of the 12-team playoff. But I do think it's going to be phenomenal this year with, maybe 8 teams in it that legitimately could go win it, right? I don't know if there's 12, but I think this is a good year for the 12-team playoff. And so, nothing has killed the sport. The sport is better right now than it has ever been.
Well, they followed the NFL. They've realized that parity is paradise as far as financially. Yeah. And that's the NIL is not going to kill college football. The playoff is not going to kill it. It's actually going to make it more exciting and more fair for each and every team out there. You're going to see some teams getting that 12-team playoff that you never dreamed of over the next 5-6 years. It's probably going to go to 16 teams, and then hopefully to God it won't go past 16. But it'll probably go to 16 because they need money. They're going to start paying the teams. Damn it. They're going to be paying the teams players for the next umpteen years, $21 million a season. They got to have money. And they're going to want as much as they can get. And that playoff pays a ton to each team.
Yeah, the playoff payouts are absurd right now, and rightfully so. Like these TV companies make so much money that it's not even funny. So certainly give it back to the schools and the players. But I agree. It's in a really healthy spot and certainly makes the products pretty great. So Jay, I really enjoy your content. I enjoy tuning and watching, even when you put me on there. I can take the fire though. So if you want to do it, I know you feel bad, but I can take it. I've been taking it all year.
I haven't had the heart of it.
No,
just to sit there and have to talk about it because you're already doing it so much, and it's like, God, if y'all were competitive, I'd be glad to, but it's like just beating a dead horse, man. It's like, God, and I can't understand. I just don't understand what the hell's happened to FSU. I can't understand it.
We're wake me up. We've been saying all year, wake me up when November ends, and we can consider.
That's a shame because it's so much fun. I mean, God, ever since Josh Heupel showed up, it has been a party up here. I mean, my God, Knoxville has exploded.
Yeah.
So, and FSU fans deserve that. They deserve to have that too.
It's hard too because and some of these people that like get paid to cover the sport, like they don't care, right? Like their job is to do X, Y, Z. I mean, I love college football. I mean, I'm just as excited right now talking about Tennessee, Georgia as I am. Maybe not as much, but like a big FSU game or whatever. And so when it's something you do really love, a 1-9 season kind of.
Yeah, I saw it after the game when y'all played over there in Dublin that you were hurting. That's just painful, and I get it. I totally get it. But to see y'all, none of this makes sense to me. And there's just no way you can go from an undefeated season. And here, I could see it had y'all moved into the SEC. I was like, okay, that's a different level, and they're getting beat up, but they'll rise to the occasion over time. Y'all should never be 1-9 in the ACC. I mean, it's just, come on, that can't happen. Not at Florida State.
Yeah, it's pretty inexcusable. Obviously, that's why there's a lot of change happening, and Florida State fans are certainly looking to just turn the page. And
I'm hoping y'all get better because I talk to the FSU fans all the time in my comment section, and they're actually really cool. And I know that they're suffering right now, and it won't last. It won't last.
Yeah, this too shall come to pass. But where can people find your channel? Where can they follow you, bud?
Just Sports Talk Jay on YouTube. That's where I like to hang out.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you, buddy.
All right, no problem.